House Oversight Chair James Comer says new details are going to be released soon in the committee's Biden family investigation.
We're up to 6 banks now, Jason, and we're going to have an announcement, hopefully next week, of more findings, more disturbing findings that we found. It's hard to cheat on bank records. We also are requesting more bank violations. We're hoping that Treasury will give us access to more bank violations that we believe would have information on the potential bribery charges that were alleged in the FBI documents. So our investigation is moving along.
Former ranking member of the Judiciary Committee and former Georgia Congressman Doug Collins joins us now. Doug, good morning to you. So you just heard Congressman Comer talking about disturbing findings that he's going to announce next week about overseas money that the Biden family received. So read between the lines here and tell us how big of a deal this announcement might be.
Well, it could be a very real big deal for everybody. The issue here, though, that is really coming up is why is Congress, several years later having to find this out? And I think that's going to become one of the issues that James talking about, Comer is talking about. When you come to this issue of these bank records that were known, they've been suspicious activities reports on these accounts, why has this never been connected to some of these investigations seemingly going on? DOJ, FBI, nobody has ever commented on that, and they're not denying the validity of these records. So when you start putting the pieces together, at some point somebody's got to answer why this wasn't a criminal activity or why there wasn't taxes evaded on these things, because you just can't keep finding the money and not find the other trail afterwards. So I think it could be very significant if you continue to put the pieces together, and especially in the lack of DOJ's work on this seemingly as well.
So not only are we expecting Comer's announcement on that, today is also the deadline for the U.S. Attorney David Weiss to answer Jim Jordan's questions about Hunter Biden's federal tax case. So Weiss told Jordan he's not at liberty to turn over the materials. And now there's a lot of talk of a subpoena to bring Weiss before Congress. So we have seen what has happened historically with giving them these deadlines. I mean, what do you think is going to happen with this going forward? How do you see this playing out?
Well, this was a concern I had a couple weeks ago when they actually started, they initially made the charges against Hunter Biden. And they kept saying, though, that DOJ would also make the announcement, but the ongoing investigation. This was the part that we saw coming right then. It said, okay, here's what we're going to do with Hunter Biden right now, but we're also going to continue to investigate this. So, Congress, we're not going to turn over anything we've got because we're, quote, still under investigation. This is a classic case of DOJ, again, trying to use the investigation term to evade trying to answer these questions that Congress has. And again, I think the American people by this point are just getting tired of it. But I see this playing out probably in a long, drawn out. Jim Jordan's probably going to have to subpoena these documents. Then they're going to have to go through that process. But again, when I heard that a couple of weeks ago, when they said, oh, here's the charges and the plea agreement with Hunter Biden, but then they said it's still under investigation, I said that's code for saying we're not going to cooperate.
Very interesting there. Doug, let's talk about ice cream and the 4th of July, because Ben & Jerry's posted a tweet saying this 4th of July, it's high time we recognize that the U.S. exists on stolen indigenous land and commit to returning it. They also said on their website, we need to start with Mount Rushmore. The faces on Mount Rushmore are the faces of men who actively work to destroy indigenous cultures and way of life, to deny indigenous people their basic rights. I mean, this company says stuff like this all the time, I guess in an effort possibly to be provocative. But man, they are sure taking a lot of money on that stolen indigenous land that they clearly dislike so much.
Yeah, I'm wondering when they're going to start closing their factories and closing their shops and doing all that and giving it back to the people that they're claiming that they stole it from. Again, it's just this sort of liberal ideology, woke ideology, trying to get people riled up. Again, this is not new, though, as you said, from Ben & Jerry's. I don't think from some people in life's conservative perspective or others, this is really going to shock anybody here. But the hypocrisy here is just what I think bothers most people. You're talking about stolen land, you're talking about all this, and yet you're sitting there, taking money, making money on factories and businesses that are made on this land that you quoted stolen. I think it was pretty funny. I did see a social media post that was going at Ben & Jerry's and asked them, are you going to give back the milk that you stole from the cows? I mean, this is how ridiculous it's becoming. That's
an interesting way of putting it. I got to leave some time for this. Let's talk about some cocaine in the White House, found in the White House.
Amazing.
The president, right? These are words I didn't think I was ever going to have to say, ever. But the president is brushing off questions about the cocaine that was found. Watch this.
What
I know he doesn't comment on a lot of things when it comes to controversy, whether it be investigations with his family, now cocaine in the White House. But my gosh, you got to say something in this instance. What do you think he should do and the White House should be saying about this?
Well, maybe how about starting off with, we have the most secure building in America. We have cameras everywhere. We know who comes in and out of this building. We're going to find out who actually brought the cocaine in. Instead, they're saying, well, we may not ever know. This is just, I mean, if that is true, then the Congress really needs to get with the Secret Service and find out what does it mean to protect the White House. If you can't figure out in this room, in these areas where you have cameras everywhere, who this might possibly be, narrowing it down to even a few folks is really sad when almost the initial comment is we might not ever find out. But the really sad part about it is it's not new for Joe Biden to walk away from questions. But again, sitting there as if he had no idea, like you could almost read in his mind saying, why are they asking me these questions? I don't understand. It's just like, it's like he's not even engaged with the room.
Yeah, and what if it wasn't cocaine? What if it was something like anthrax? That would have been, that's a huge concern. And then the original call that came in apparently said that it was found in the East Wing where the first family lives. And now the Secret Service is saying that, no, it was actually in the West Wing where visitors take tours. So I don't know how you could get confused over where the cocaine was located, but this is certainly one to watch. Doug, got to leave it there. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Doug.